Yo, JD here to Limitless, and as you can see, we're back on F1 2019 here today, and we are back with a brand new F1 Esports POV, and this is from David Tonizza, the latest F1 Esports champion. And again, like with the other guys who have supplied me with their footage, a huge thanks to him for allowing me to showcase this. And this is at Monaco, and straight away you can see of how difficult it is. An F1 Esports champion getting damaged on this qualifying lap. You know, this is probably the hardest track to hook up a qualifying lap, and just watching these guys go around here, as we saw a video recently with Speed Bari when he got a 7.2. Now we're watching it in the real thing, and yeah, it's pretty crazy of how close it is, and just the risks that you have to take around this track. They're using full damage as well. Don't think it's simulation, I'm pretty sure it's full damage. But it's very easy to accumulate damage on this track, and time penalties as well. If you make a single mistake, you're going to be outside the top 10 with no chance of points whatsoever here. But you can see at the moment, David is on provisional pole, but then he backs out of a lap, and someone else has actually lost a wing up out ahead of him. So he backs out of that, invalidates it, and now he's going for his final lap, which I believe is his quickest lap that he's done in the session. So let's ride on board with the current F1 Esports champion. So going into turn one, what does he do? He elects to stay in 6th gear, using a little bit of engine braking. 3rd gear, then quickly upshifts into 4th gear. Going up over the hill now, let's say staying in 6th gear once again. Going down the gears pretty slowly, 3rd gear, 4th gear, and then back down to 3rd. I think that was 2nd for a small brief moment into here. Going down into here, 2nd gear, 1st gear for that rotation, and then going up into 3rd, into the slowest corner on the calendar. 1st gear, short shifting into 2nd, and then leaves it in 2nd. 1st gear again, going up into 3rd. Really likes to go up and down the gears, I've noticed so far, and going through the tunnel. You can see, I think he's running ultra low graphics, which most of the drivers do use. Staying in 7th gear, carrying a ton of speed into this apex, and really quick change of direction, going up into the swimming pool section, leaves it in 5th gear, doesn't go down, has a little bit of contact with the wheel, and then going through here, probably the hardest corner I'd say on the track, absolutely nails that, doesn't even hit the exit onto this one, and then 1st gear again, holds it in 1st gear for quite a while, up into 2nd, and down 2nd, but he goes up and down the gears so much. But going across the line, you can see by his delta, he was up by quite a bit, but he lost some time in that last sector, and I think is mainly because he was just holding it in 1st gear. Had a little bit too much understeer. But he does get the pole position of a 107.5, which is quite surprising, because I know a lot of guys were going quicker than that, like Speed Bari. I'm sure others were doing that as well. It's pretty surprising, but it just shows how difficult it is to hook up in the real thing. It's completely different to practice. But now we have 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and as the lights go out, let's see if he gets a good start. And straight away you see Brendan Lee, the 2-time champion, jumps him, and almost Lucas Blakely does it as well, going into turn 1. And this is a glitch that I'm convinced is on this game, where the lights definitely go out for other people much earlier than other people on the grid, and I myself have benefited from this, but I've also been a victim of this as well. It's definitely a thing in this game, and I don't know if it's to do with connection to the host or anything at all, because some lobbies I get it and other times I don't with the same host. It really seems to be quite a random thing. But around this track, that is absolutely crucial and costly, because grid or track position is absolutely key here. So now we're running on board, and you can see by the braking, I really like to analyze the brakes, because that's where I feel you can gain the most time, compared to Rasmussen, where he brakes for a long time and then goes down the gears. Seems like David, as soon as he's on the brakes, that's when he downshifts. So he's a lot more aggressive with the downshifting, as we saw in the qualifying lap as well. He really likes to throw it around the gears, and you can see it again, going to 2nd, back up to 3rd very quickly. He's very aggressive with his gearbox, and kind of similar to myself, where I really go down the gears quite quickly and then upshifts quite quickly as well. But now the task at hand is that he has got the 2-time champion Brendan Lee up ahead of him on the streets of Monaco. If you get a single bit of damage, you're going to have to do, well, I don't know if it's even worth changing your wing in this, because you're just going to be losing so many positions, and track position is so key. Even if you're a second slower than someone, you could probably hold them up behind, because it's just all about getting that exit. But you can see straight away the top two are actually making quite a big gap. I think that's Daniel Haddad, because I think everyone else has actually elected to go for the undercut, because the mediums are very, very durable around here. And as I said before, track position is absolutely crucial. So these guys have decided to stay out. Lucas Blakely is the guy who is pitted from P3 behind with his teammate Daniel Haddad, who was unable to pit. And Brendan Lee now goes into pits, but David actually continues. And I think he's doing that because he knows that he is probably going to get jumped. Now, the overcut is not really going to work. He might as well have slightly fresher tyres, because he knows he's probably already lost a position to the likes of Lucas Blakely. And now, that's quite surprising, actually, that he didn't actually pit in the first lap, because the mediums are pretty good, really, from lap 1 as well. And no, track position is key, because these soft tyres do go off pretty quickly. So you can see now, everyone else has pitted behind him. It is only the medium runners who have gone out. So this is a very, very bold strategy by David here. But obviously, he's got the confidence that he feels that the overcut could work. But you can see by the first sector, he is not going purple. He hasn't even gone green. He's actually lost time. So it'll be interesting to see what his middle sector is going to be. Going for this corner, quite delayed, going up into the first gear, or down into the first gear here, but then going down the gear just for extra rotation that you need in the race with the heavier fuel loads. A little bit different to qualifying, and it's so easy. You can see he actually kisses the wall on the exit. So I presume he's going into the pits this lap, and he does. He does go into the pits. So it's going to be very interesting to see where he comes out. Shouldn't be held up by anyone, because the guys behind him are on the mediums, and they're going to go on for quite a bit longer into this race. Hoping that the softs will be very good towards the end, the extra grip that I have. But let's look out for the pink car of Lucas Blakely, who I feel has a very good chance of actually jumping in. You can see, look, he's already gone past me. He's gone past him right now, and there is no way that he's going to regain that position. He actually stays ahead of, I'm not sure what happened to Brendan now. I think he might have got held in the pits, but it's Daniel Berezne who pitted the first lap as well. So just showing how powerful that undercut is. It is really powerful, and I feel he's actually been caught out a little bit here. I was very surprised that he elected to not do that strategy. But of course, when Brendan continues, now he might not have been aware of that necessarily. He might not have expected the guys to pit that early. So he's probably just more focused on Brendan, and then the guys behind. Sometimes that is the advantage of being the car behind. You can really pick and choose what your opponent does, and they've decided to do the opposite. And no, it's worked out for Lucas Blakely. So now he has got the task of trying to overtake him on track at Monaco, which, is probably the hardest track to overtake. I can't think of any other tracks that is harder than, and the room for error is just so small. And having done a league race myself around here recently, I can tell you how difficult it is, and just it's not just the speed you have to carry, it's just the concentration you have to do as well. As I said, if you just make one error and it's on full damage as well, it's very easy to accumulate that. Just one tap of the wall and you're going half a second slower, and you're probably going to be swallowed up pretty easily by any of these esports drivers. Because I have to say, every single one of these drivers I respect so much, because they put in so much time to this. And now the lap times you saw in the qualifying as well, it's, the guy who's coming in last in qualifying, whoever that is each time, I can assure you they would probably walk into any league and still be very, very competitive, even fighting for pole and stuff as well. So the level that these guys are is pretty extraordinary. It really is, and huge respect to these guys. But now David is trying to follow him as close as he can, and the only thing you can do around Monaco is, because the DRS is not powerful enough really to overtake him into turn 1. You've got to rely on them to make a mistake, so you've really got to try and force them into a mistake. And the problem is, these guys are probably the top 20 drivers in the world of this game. Making mistakes is pretty rare, and I've said this before in previous videos. a lot of these guys have more experience now in F1 Esports. A lot of them have been in for 1 or 2 seasons at the very least. Although Lucas, who's quite a newcomer to this series, has been putting some absolutely insane performances. He has really impressed me. And you could even say David as well. He's only done 1 season. He won the championship in his first season. But the level here is just, I said it again, it's not just the speed and talent, because I think there's probably 100 people in the world, if not more, who could easily have the speed for F1 Esports. It's just the mentality and just your resilience and just not losing concentration, not losing mistakes or cracking under pressure. That is what separates the good from the very best. And all of these guys are insanely good at that. So David is trying to force him into mistake. And to be fair to him, although there is a little bit of dirty air in this game, arguably should be more, he's still putting him under a ton of pressure. And I can't imagine what it's like having the most recent F1 Esports champion right behind you, trying to overtake, because I know David hasn't had the best results so far in this pro races. And I think he has had a podium in a couple of, I think, Australia and China and stuff that he did. He still had good performances, but he hasn't had a win yet, I don't think. So I really know how hungry he is for that. And I know he wants nothing more than to win this race. There's no way that he wants to come in second place in this race. I know how hungry he is to prove why he is the current F1 Esports champion. And right now, these two are in a complete league of their own. They have absolutely left the Alfa Romeo of Daniel Berezne behind, who is, he himself is one of the best drivers I've ever seen. These two are just a class of the field. But David does have a lap fresher tires, but you could just see just how much they are pushing the limits. You can tell how hard he is really pushing him, and I know he wants to try and get this move done early. So let's see how quick or how close he is going to be into here. But again, the straight is just not long enough. It's just not long enough whatsoever. And in my league that I did, I made a couple of overtakes going to this corner, but without any disrespect, the level against this level against those guys, and myself, I mean, is these guys get the perfect exit, and you're gonna have to rely from a unnatural mistake for any opportunity to overtake right here. Because see, he's almost pushing around this corner here, making the setup work very nicely. First gear, second gear, and going through the tunnel. This could be potentially another opportunity, and you can see by the engine temp there as well. I said this as well. I don't think engine temperatures are really that important in this game. I think it will slightly decrease your engine power, but ultimately it's not really going to make a big difference, which is why I see. But look how close he is now, and he is so close. And let's see if he gets a good exit, but Lucas gets a very good exit as well. No way he's going to make a move there, but he just carried so much speed into that penultimate corner. He is very close here, but again, just because you're right up behind that car, he is always going to get on the throttle slightly earlier than you. And he has a good line going to here. He has a very good line going through turn 1. But again, the straights are just not long enough. There is no way he's even close to overtaking these corners. So we're almost about 50% of the race gone through now. And Lucas is doing an absolutely incredible job. Because I know he hasn't won a race yet in an F1 Esports format, and I know how much that means to him as well. Like I said of Marcel, I think he's definitely one of the most passionate and the hardest working guys in this field, and he is really starting to solidify himself as being a top 6 driver at bare minimum in this field. He's doing a really good job. And I have to mention as well, which you'll see at the end of this video, he's actually in cockpit cam as well, which is even more impressive. Although I do say you can get used to everything. I don't think anyone else uses cockpit cam apart from him so far in this F1 Esports series. But a little bit of a sign of a mistake going into this last sector, and David seems to be particularly strong through here, but off that last corner, Lucas just keeps on getting an insane run. And let's see what the gap is to the cars behind going across the line. What is the gap? I think that's about 3.3 seconds. So we'll pay attention to that at the end of the race or the next lap. Let's see what kind of lap time, or we'll see the gain there, if they are gaining any time whatsoever. But going through here, look at how close he's getting to the walls, just flirting with the walls going through it here. First gear again, going up into third gear, taking a wider line to see if he could get on the throttle a little bit earlier from him. He always gets a little bit out of shape going into this corner, but it is mainly through the last sector where he is gaining the most time. And I think Berezne behind is actually starting to come under a little bit more pressure from Brendan Lee, but going into this section, braking very late, gets a very good line, always gets some very good traction coming out towards here, but he just cannot be close enough at all. But it's this last sector where I feel Tonizza is especially strong to go through. He hits it, he gets a very good run. This is the closest he has been so far, but Lucas defends the inside very, very well, actually making a slight bit of contact with each other. But coming off this corner, this is the closest he's been again, but I don't think he is going to be close enough. And I think this is close as he can possibly get going into this turn one. But Lucas just keeps on getting some very good exits, and now the gap has gone up to 3.6 seconds. He's closing in again, and I think he was thinking about it, and I think he's getting a little bit frustrated now because he knows time is running out. Having those fresher tyres is always going to be a little bit more benefit towards the end of the stint, so he needs to get this move done as quick as he can. And they're still extending the gap because Brendan Lee has actually managed to force the overtake, so he's actually managed to overtake someone around Monaco. This might give David Tonizza some motivation to do the same on Lucas Blakey, but this is probably the closest he's been, and I think every single lap he just appears to be getting a centimetre closer each time. But a little bit of a scruffy exit, and that's what happens in esports. If you make that kind of mistake, just a tiny mistake, a little bit out of shape, you've just lost so much ground to your opponent. It's crazy. You just cannot make mistakes. And with the format of these 25% races, you can't afford to relax. You have to push flat out. It's so different to a 50% race where you can really kind of pace yourself and get into the rhythm of it. But in these races and esports, you just don't have time to do that. And Lucas right now, he is definitely not relaxing, I can assure you of that, because he has got the current F1 Esports champion right behind him, and he's just banging into the walls, like marbles going into the walls there. And let's see what the gap is behind now, going through that first sector split. It is about 5.9 seconds, so I don't know what has happened to Brendan. I don't know if he's got damage or he's trying to back up the pack, but now it is quite clearly a two-way fight for this win, and we've got 7 and a bit laps remaining, 7.5 laps remaining of this race. And I think David is just trying to put him under as much pressure as possible. Gets a very, very good exit this time, and you can see he puts it into hot lap, so he is very determined to put it past. And this is definitely the closest that he has been. He is almost pushing him going into this last sector here, and see almost a little bit of a corner cut. Is he going to go down the inside? Decides to think better of it, and let's see, this is the closest he's got, but he can't quite get a good exit. But this is definitely the closest he's been. Is he going to make a move going into turn one? Lucas defends. He tries to go around the outside, goes for the switchback in fourth gear, almost completely taking each other out here, and there's going to be no way he's going to get past going up this hill. And Lucas fights for another day as he makes another contact with the wall. So I don't know if that is lag or anything at all. And no, it's really starting to get a little bit spicy as he actually clips the rear of his car going through that corner. And like I said before, I think if you're a champion, you do not want to be coming home in second place. He wants to prove why he is the champion, and coming second place in esports, especially around somewhere like Monaco, is not something that these guys are going to settle for. He wants nothing but the win, and this is the mentality that you have to have when racing in something like this again. So I think it's a little bit calmed down now. Apologies if I'm talking too much because it's just so fast paced. I feel there's just something happening every single corner here, but he's calmed down a little bit now, but he's gone very close again. He is so strong here, and he gets another very good exit coming off this corner. But again, I don't think he's definitely not going to be close enough on this occasion. But going third gear, up shifting into fourth gear, leaves it a little bit later this time and puts it into high. And I think he's going to put it back down and just have a breather like I am as well, and then attack again once he gets a little bit closer. But Lucas, a little bit of lag there, I think. I think that is definitely a little bit lag, which is again something I don't think David really wants. He wants to get past him and not avoid this issue. But the problem around Monaco is that the car ahead is always going to be earlier on the throttle than you, just due to how narrow it is and just the nature of the track. there's nothing to do. You can see the actual internet bar was appearing on Lucas's car, so he's very, very close again. No way through on the inside. Let's see if he gets a good exit, and David always gets such a good exit from that corner. Definitely on that corner, and just in the last sector in general, he just seems to be very strong, particularly through his right-left chicane as we're going through into now. Let's see if he gets a good exit. He gets a pretty good exit, but he's not going to be close enough going to here. Lucas always goes a little bit semi-defensive, but I think importantly for Lucas, he always gets a very good run off this last corner, and I think you can see that in David's face. Starting to add to the frustration because now the laps are slowly running out now, and Lucas is just quick in all the right places. Although David, I think he does have to that fresh tires as Frederick Rasmussen has left the session. I don't know if he had damage. I think he did have damage from what I remember. And that just shows as well, one of the fastest guys in F1 Esports, you are not immune to having bad results. No, if you have an off day and qualifying on a track like this, when you don't hook it up, it makes your life very, very difficult. In general in this game, if you can qualify in the top 2 or top 3, you normally have a very stress-free race. But if you're in the mid-pack or outside the top 4, then I feel it's a pretty chaotic environment to be in, that's to say the least. I'm not sure what has happened here. Can't quite see from David's webcam. I don't know if he got an illegal overtake, but he is so close. Once again, he's going to go down the inside, and I was surprised he didn't go down the inside here. And I think he's just trying to force Lucas into a mistake. But again, Lucas just gets a very good exit coming off that last corner. Going through the laps here, about 7/10 down from his personal best. So I think the tyres are now slowly starting to go off. And let's see what the gap is behind. Brendan hasn't even crossed the line. It's over 10 seconds. So Brendan must have damage. So surely that he has damage, because he was rapid around. He was leading the race at the very first point of this. He jumped the start. Well, not jumped the start, but he managed to get into the lead at the start. And now he's over 10 seconds behind. And that just shows with damage of just how difficult it is to overtake someone right here. But Lucas has a little bit of a squirm coming off that last corner here. And no, he's going into overtake, but he's not going to be close enough going to a sequence of corners. But again, David always gets such a good exit. He is so close coming off that corner every single time. Down to 4th, up into 5th. This is the closest he's been again for a little while. And going through into his last sector, he always turns a little bit early for the left. Very, very close again. He's going to try and down the inside, but he never tries it. He never ever decides to actually try it. And going through his last corner, turns in a little bit early. And once again, Lucas gets a very good exit. So now we have 3 laps of this race to go. And right now, it looks like nothing can be done about this. And Lucas, I can't imagine what he is feeling so far in this race. As again, I'm just completely out of breath even talking about this. It's just the pace. It's just such fast pace. You can't imagine what it's like driving in this. It's, yeah, your heart must be absolutely going through the roof. But right now, I know David is probably the more relaxed one out of the two. No, he's got nothing to lose in his opinion, because I know he wants to win. He doesn't want to come second. No, he's got a huge gap behind. It's Lucas that has everything to lose, because he has never been in this position in terms of leading a race, a net position of a P1, and he's getting very close once again, and always just gets such a good exit through just going up through the gears, minimizing the wheel spin, very close into this last sector. And let's see this time through the right-hander, slow in, fast out, gets a little bit squirming on the exit, and this time, no, he still doesn't go down the inside, so he never tries it, which I'm still very surprised at. But this is the closest he has been, very close. But then Lucas picks up the traction, and no, I don't think he's going to be close enough going into his first corner. Someone who's retired in the McLaren here, gets a very nice exit going off his tail one. He puts it into hot lap, now running out of ERS at the same time. But I think Lucas is going to be doing the same thing. And now we've got about less than 2 laps to go till the end of this race, and time is running out. There's probably only another few opportunities that David can do here, and not sure what's happening. Ghosting. I think Enzo is talking to David there, but no, losing a little bit of touch going through this corner, coming out into the tunnel, and now Lucas has actually built up a little bit of a lead. So he needs to get a move on, and as long as he doesn't make a mistake, then I don't think there's anything that he can do. And the reason why I show these videos again is just to show you the level that these guys are driving at. Especially in these format of races, you cannot afford to relax. You have to be driving almost like a qualifying lap every single time, and it is just insane of how precise and just how mentally resilient you need to be. It really is insane. But Lucas has now got a good lead, and I think all he needs to do is just keep it together for this main lap. Because see, David, I think the tyres are now starting to go, because if you're the car behind, you're just going to get a little bit more dirty air, a little bit more understeer. You're going to be sliding around a little bit more, and I think he's been trying very hard to try and force an overtake from on Lucas. I find myself when I'm really trying to be in that position, like I had recently at my Singapore race when I was trying to overtake people or just trying to catch people up. You get on the throttle earlier, you just wheel spinning too much. I think his tyres are now slowly but surely starting to go, and I don't think he is going to get him on this lap. It's going to be the last lap where he's going to have any more opportunity. And he's only got 7% ERS as well, but going through this corner, gets a decent exit again. But Lucas now, I think his tyres are probably going to be in actual slightly better shape than David. So you can see with the oversteer again. I think his tyres are now slowly starting to give up, but he is definitely not giving up as he actually gets a warning through here. So you can see he's still pushing, and now we have got 1 lap to go, and I think he is going to give it everything on this last lap. So let's see this going across the line now. But now we are going to skip on to Lucas Blake's read, and you can see here he is using the cockpit cam as well, and David is pretty close, but he's not going to be close enough going up onto this hill here. And all he has to do now is just keep it under control. And talking about intensity and the level of precision, look how close Lucas is getting to the walls in this cockpit cam. It is just it's just insane. Just the level of accuracy that he is doing here. He actually hits the wall. Luckily, I don't think he's got any damage so far in this race when he was doing it. Going through the tunnel now, David is definitely not going to be close enough. He's running low on the ERS, and I think Lucas is as well. He's on about 10%. Going to here, Lucas has got a very smooth driving style, gets on the traction, gets a very good release, and now there is really only 1 opportunity left. And let's see how much David is actually going to push it. It doesn't matter if he gets a penalty because he's got such a big gap behind, and no, he is not going to be close enough at all here. And then going through into the last corner on his first F1 Esports win, it is Lucas Blakely who has won his first win. You can see David is pretty disappointed at that. GG to him, that was insane. And I think you are going to hear a few words from Lucas of how hyped he is. And listen to this.
Well done, man.
Fuck yes!
Next 3-second penalty.
Yes!
And I know, being a league racer myself and even competing in esports and just how competitive I am, I can't imagine how much that means to him, and I want to congratulate him. A phenomenal drive from both of those drivers, and just an incredible display of speed and skill and just precision. It was absolutely nuts. So I really hope you enjoyed that perspective from the current F1 Esports champion. Thank you again for David for letting me use his footage. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you very, very soon. Peace.